She told me during my firing that the company needed fresh perspectives for their upcoming launch, someone who really got the latest market trends. My name's Tyler, I'm 41, and for 7 years I'd been the lead product designer at Arcform Outdoor Gear in Minneapolis. Well, that was true until that Thursday morning when Elena summoned me to her office. Heather from HR was already sitting there waiting. I'd sensed this was coming for months. Ever since Elena took over as creative director and brought her slick magazine-style vibe to our rugged outdoor brand, everything I designed, gear meant to be practical, tough, made for real mountains, was suddenly not forward-thinking enough. Elena said, sliding the termination papers toward me with her perfectly manicured nails that never once gripped a climbing rope. Your work lacks the innovation we need to move forward. I kept my expression neutral and nodded. 7 years of my designs had helped build this company's reputation among serious outdoor enthusiasts. The Pathfinder series backpacks, that was mine. The modular jacket system that earned 2 international design awards, also mine. But none of that mattered anymore. I thanked her for the feedback, packed up my sketchbooks, unplugged my tablet, and walked out. What Elena didn't realize was that I'd quietly been working on a portfolio outside of office hours, designs that Arcform had rejected, calling them too experimental or not fitting the target demographic. But I still believed in those ideas. On my drive home, my phone buzzed with a message from Brian in product development. This company just made the biggest mistake of its corporate life. I learned design at my grandfather's workbench back in Duluth. He built custom wooden canoes and taught me that form follows function. No wasted space, no unnecessary details, just pure purpose. I carried that philosophy through design school and into my career. When I joined Arcform, they were struggling. Great products, but poor design execution. I completely rebuilt their aesthetic from the ground up. The CEO at the time, James, got it. Make stuff that works first. Looks good second, he'd say. The people who use our gear will notice. And he was right. Within 3 years, our sales doubled. Outdoor enthusiasts trusted us because the gear solved real problems. The Pathfinder backpack balanced weight distribution so well that professional guides specifically requested it for long treks. The thermal shift jacket adapted seamlessly to temperature changes without adding bulk, award-winning innovation grounded in real needs. Then James retired. The company brought in Vivan as CEO, who hired Elena from the fashion world to elevate the brand. Suddenly, meetings focused on aesthetics instead of performance specs. My designs came under scrutiny and were pushed aside. The new designers, mostly fresh grads with flashy digital portfolios but zero field experience, started getting the best projects. 3 months ago, I submitted concepts for our next generation of weatherproof gear. Elena dismissed them as uninspired. The next week, I watched her present almost identical concepts to executives, credited to Justin, a recent luxury brand hire. That night, I called Thomas, an old friend now at Ridgeline Supply, Arcform's biggest competitor, where he's a materials specialist. "How's your contract looking these days?" he asked after I explained everything. "No non-compete," I said. James thought they were unethical. There was a pause. Interesting, very interesting. My termination package was decent. 3 months' salary and extended benefits. A professional courtesy after 7 years. I signed without protest and drove home in silence. That afternoon, my apartment felt different. Smaller, but somehow more open. Sitting at my drafting table, I spread out all the sketches Elena had rejected over the past year. 12 collections in total, each carefully detailed, solving specific problems for serious outdoor users. Rain tapped against the window as I studied them. I'd been designing as if I still worked for the old Arcform, the company that valued function and durability. But that Arcform didn't exist anymore. It had become something else, chasing trends instead of meeting needs. At 7 p.m., my phone rang. Melissa Hargrove, creative director at Ridgeline Supply. "Thomas mentioned you're available," she said without any introduction. "He says you're the real talent behind ARC's golden years." I said nothing, just waited. "Got anything worth looking at?" she pressed. "We're planning our fall collection and could use some fresh ideas." I glanced down at my rejected concepts. "Might have a few," I said. "Send them over tonight. If they're good, we'll talk." After hanging up, I spent 3 hours polishing 6 designs, not changing the concepts, just sharpening the presentation. At midnight, I emailed them to Melissa with simple notes explaining each design's functionality. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in months. The next morning, an email from Melissa popped up. "My office, 10 a.m. Bring your contract terms." I showered, put on my field jacket and boots instead of office clothes, and drove to Ridgeline's headquarters across town. The receptionist led me directly to Melissa's office, a cluttered space filled with material samples and prototype gear, nothing like Elena's sleek, minimalistic style. Melissa pointed to a corkboard covered with printouts of my 6 designs. "These solve problems we've been chasing for 2 seasons," she said simply. She tapped the centerpiece of my collection, a modular weatherproof system that adapts to different conditions without sacrificing mobility. "How soon can you start?" "Available now," I said. She nodded once. "Good, because we're moving fast, very fast." For the first time since Elena arrived at ARC Form, I smiled. 1 week into my new job at Ridgeline, I got a call from Peter, ARC Form's production manager. We'd worked closely for years, tackling manufacturing challenges and balancing innovative design with practical production. "Tyler, this is unofficial," he said quietly, "but things are falling apart. Justin's designs look great in renderings, but they're a nightmare to produce. The materials don't flex the way he expects. Prototypes are coming in 2 pounds heavier than specs." "Not my problem anymore," I replied, though a part of me still cared. Peter went on. "Elena's claiming you left without proper documentation on production processes. She's telling executives you sabotaged the transition." That made me sit up straight. "That's a lie." "I know," Peter said, "but she's convincing. Vivian asked if there was any truth to it." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just about moving on. Elena was actively trying to destroy my professional reputation. Despite my better instincts, I decided to email Vivian and request a meeting to clear the air. She agreed to meet for coffee the following morning. The cafe was crowded, which I figured was a good thing, a neutral spot, public and safe. Vivian showed up 10 minutes late, glancing at her watch as she arrived. "I'll be straightforward," I started. "I've heard that Elena is claiming I deliberately left the team without proper documentation. That's not true. All my files are neatly organized on the shared drive, and I personally trained Justin on my processes before I left." Vivian nodded, her expression unreadable. "I expected you might get defensive about this," she said. "Look, Tyler, the outdoor industry is a tight-knit community. I'd hate to see your reputation damaged over this unpleasantness." Her thinly veiled threat hung in the air. "Stay quiet, or we'll make things difficult for you," it seemed to say. "I appreciate your concern," I replied carefully, "but I'd hate for ARC Form to waste production resources on designs that can't actually be manufactured efficiently." Her eyes narrowed just a little. "We'll handle our production challenges internally. Thank you. And I do hope you'll be discreet about company matters going forward." As she stood to leave, my phone buzzed with a message from Melissa. "Contract's ready. We want to move fast on your weatherproof collection." I glanced back at Vivian as she walked away. She had no idea what was coming. 3 days later, a certified letter arrived from ARC Form's legal department. They were reviewing my employment records over potential confidentiality issues. The letter carefully avoided direct accusations but implied I might have broken company policies. I showed it to Melissa, who immediately forwarded it to Ridgeline's legal team. Their counsel was quick to respond. This is a standard intimidation tactic. They have no case. Your designs are original and you had no non-compete clause. They're just trying to scare you into backing down. Should I respond? I asked. No, we'll handle it, she assured me. That evening, Ridgeline's lawyer sent a simple yet devastating reply to ARC Form. We have extensive documentation of Mr. Graves's rejected designs during his tenure at your company, including submission dates and dismissal records. We welcome the opportunity to compare these with your current product development timeline in court. 2 days passed with no word from ARC Form. Then Peter called again. What did you do? He asked quietly. Elena just had a closed-door meeting with legal, and she came out looking like she'd seen a ghost. I said nothing. Just watch your back, he warned. She's not giving up. 2 days later, Thomas invited me to lunch. We met at a burger joint downtown, far enough from either company's headquarters. You need to see this, he said, sliding his tablet across the table after we ordered. It was ARC Form's internal marketing brief for their fall collection. Somehow, Thomas had gotten hold of it. I scrolled through the document and froze when I saw the mock-ups. They were my designs. The exact same concepts Elena had rejected 6 months earlier, now rebranded as the Elevation series, with Justin listed as lead designer. They're planning to launch in September, Thomas said quietly. Full marketing push. They've already ordered materials. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. She rejected these designs knowing she'd use them later. She just didn't want me to get the credit. Thomas nodded. Looks that way, but here's something else you should know. He opened another document. Ridgeline is fast-tracking your collection. Melissa convinced the CEO to move production up. Your designs could hit the market by August. I leaned back, letting that sink in, a whole month before ARC Form's launch. Yes, Thomas said, and with proper credit to you as the designer. He looked me straight in the eye. But you need to decide now. Once production starts, there's no turning back. Without hesitation, I said, let's do it. That evening, I called Melissa and officially accepted Ridgeline's accelerated timeline. The contract included something ARC Form had never offered: royalties on every unit sold with my designs, plus creative control over final production specs. We're calling it the Summit Series, Melissa explained, and we want your name front and center in the marketing. 2 days later, I signed the paperwork at Ridgeline's headquarters and handed over my full design files. Not just concepts, but detailed production specifications, material requirements, and manufacturing guidelines. When I got home, an email from Elena was waiting in my personal inbox. Tyler, I hope this message finds you well. I was reviewing some of our upcoming designs and thought we might benefit from your expertise in a consulting role. Would you be open to discussing this? I deleted it without a second thought. The following week, I toured Ridgeline's manufacturing facility with their production team. They'd never attempted anything like my modular system before, components that worked independently but functioned best together as a cohesive whole. After the tour, the lead engineer, Diane, pulled me aside. These designs are revolutionary, she said bluntly, but they're also a nightmare to manufacture. If we're going to hit the August deadline, I need you here every day. Whatever it takes, I promised. For the next month, I worked 16-hour days. Twice, I even slept on a cot in the facility office during waterproofing tests. The production team grew to respect me once they saw I understood their practical challenges. Unlike Elena, I never dismissed manufacturing concerns as someone else's problem. Halfway through, I received another email from Vivian. We should discuss your current activities for your own professional future. Another threat, another attempt to control what they had discarded. I forwarded it to Ridgeline's legal team without comment and kept my head down, working. Ridgeline moved at a stunning pace. Within 3 weeks, they had prototypes of my weatherproof collection ready. I spent days in their workshop fine-tuning details, working directly with production to ensure every specification was perfect. The Summit series consisted of 5 interconnected products: a modular backpack, all-weather outerwear with removable parts, adaptable footwear, ergonomic camping equipment, and specialized accessories. Each piece worked on its own but performed best as part of the system, a concept I'd been trying to get Arcform to understand for years. Melissa included me in marketing meetings, something Elena never did, and listened carefully as I explained the practical benefits to highlight. "These aren't fashion statements," I told the team. "They're tools for people who depend on their gear in extreme conditions." By late July, whispers started circulating in the industry. Retailers who'd previewed samples of the Summit series were impressed. Online forums buzzed with speculation about Ridgeline's surprising new direction. The call came from Peter at Arcform. "Tyler, did you—" His question died mid-sentence. "Forget it. I probably shouldn't be asking." I pressed him anyway. "What's going on over there?" Though I had a pretty good idea. Peter's voice dropped to a whisper. "Vivian got hold of Ridgeline's preview catalog. The Summit series looks incredible. Elena's panicking, accusing them of stealing our ideas." I held my silence. "But here's the thing," Peter went on. "We both know those aren't Arcform's current designs. They're yours, the ones Elena threw out, right?" "Careful not to reveal too much," I said. "I'm not in a position to comment." "No need," Peter said. "Your name's on them, plain as day in the catalog. Designed by Tyler Graves, former lead designer at Arcform. It's honestly brilliant." The very next day, Vivian herself called. I let the call go to voicemail. Her message was sharp and to the point. "Tyler, this is highly unprofessional. We must resolve this situation immediately." I didn't return the call. Instead, I drove to Ridgeline's headquarters for the final meeting before launch. The marketing materials were ready, production lines primed. In 2 weeks, the Summit series would hit specialty stores nationwide, beating Arcform's suspiciously similar Elevation series to market by a full month. The night before launch, I lay awake. 7 years with Arcform, endless prototypes, hundreds of sketches. Every bit of that work had led me here. It wasn't the ending I'd imagined, but perhaps it was the one that needed to be. At 5 in the morning, restless, I drove out to a trail just beyond the city limits, the very trail where I'd put early Arcform designs through their paces. As the first light of dawn crept in, I climbed to the ridge. The air was damp and crisp, precisely the kind of weather my modular system was built to conquer. My phone buzzed. A message from Melissa. "We're live. The website just launched. Orders are already coming in." Standing there, watching the sun rise, a strange blend of satisfaction and melancholy washed over me. I hadn't wanted things to end like this with Arcform. I'd poured my heart into that company, but they'd chosen Elena's vision, style over substance. Now, the market would decide who was right. By the time I returned to my car, 17 missed calls lit up my screen. Outdoor journalists, bloggers, gear reviewers, all eager to hear the story behind Ridgeline's bold new collection. And then, one message from Elena. "You've made a grave mistake." Finally, I called her back. "No," I said the moment she answered, "you did." On August 12th, the Summit series launched. By midday, Ridgeline's website had crashed twice due to overwhelming traffic. Customer service lines buzzed non-stop with retailers scrambling to increase their orders. From Melissa's office, I watched outdoor magazines and gear reviewers publish their early takes. Revolutionary. Game-changing. Setting a new industry benchmark. My name featured prominently in every review. 3 days later, Outside Magazine ran a feature comparing the Summit series to leaked photos of Arcform's Elevation series. The headline was telling: "Separated at birth. The curious case of two nearly identical product lines. The piece stopped short of accusing Arcform outright but questioned the timeline closely. It noted I designed both lines, yet Arcform credited Justin for theirs. Online forums erupted with discussion. Industry insiders who'd met me at trade shows quickly connected the dots. Social media exploded with side-by-side comparisons and pointed debates over intellectual property rights. Vivian called once more. This time I answered. "This is absolutely unacceptable," she launched without any greeting. "You've deliberately sabotaged our company." "I designed products for a company that hired me to do exactly that," I responded evenly. "Now you're selling those products under another name." "We'll explore legal options," she threatened. "That could be interesting," I replied. "I have emails from Elena rejecting these very designs 6 months ago. What would a court say about you producing them under someone else's name now?" A long silence followed. "You should have appreciated what you had," I added quietly. "Good luck with your launch." The following week, Arcform announced a delay in releasing the Elevation series for further refinement. Industry experts called it a retreat. By October, Ridgeline's Summit series had smashed all previous first-quarter sales records. My royalty checks already exceeded my full yearly salary at Arcform. Melissa promoted me to design director, putting me in charge of 6 designers and granting me full creative control over the next 3 seasonal collections. Thomas shifted from material specialist to join my team as technical advisor. Arcform eventually put out a rushed redesign bearing little resemblance to my original work. Reviews were tepid. Their stock price slid 8% the following quarter. That winter, I ran into Elena at an industry conference in Denver. She sat alone at the bar, nursing a drink as I passed. "Congrats on your success," she said, stopping me. Her voice was cold, devoid of warmth. I nodded but didn't reply. "You could have stayed and fought for your designs," she said. "Why didn't you?" I paused. "Some battles aren't worth fighting." She flinched but quickly regained composure. "Vivian's stepping down next month. The board asked me to step in temporarily." I almost felt sympathy for her. Almost. "Good luck," I said sincerely. "The industry needs strong leadership." 6 months later, I received an unexpected package. Inside were all my original sketchbooks from my Arcform days, along with a handwritten note from Peter. "These belong to you. Elena's gone. Thought you should know." Opening one book, I found a concept drawn 3 years prior, a modular tent system for extreme weather, something I'd never shown Elena. That evening, I called Melissa. "I've got an idea for our winter collection," I told her. By the following spring, Ridgeline's stock value had doubled. Arcform announced a restructuring under new management. I didn't follow the news closely. I was too busy designing what came next. Sometimes at night I reflect on those years at Arcform, not with bitterness, but with clear understanding. They taught me something valuable, just not what they intended. In this industry and in life, your work speaks loudest when given the chance. Elena tried to silence mine, but in doing so, she only made it louder. The greatest revenge wasn't proving her wrong. It was finding a place that recognized what I'd always known. Good design isn't about chasing trends. It's about solving real problems for real people. And that's what truly lasts.